Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. Tuesday. It is a Tuesday, January 17th, hanging with my boy Pinky. How you doing, my guy?
Good, buddy. It was you said it's Tuesday, but it sure felt like a Monday. Ooh, Pinky had a case of the Mondays, bro. It was bad.
Mondays on a Tuesday. At least it's not Mondays on like a Thursday. That would be worse.
It was a long day.
It was. Tomorrow's hump day though, so that should help a little bit. Move things along, hopefully.
No, it's still gonna be like, I still got 3 more days, but that's okay.
Hey,
because we still have a few weeks where there's still football at the end of the tunnel.
That's true.
That's what gets me through my week. There's football at the end of the tunnel.
Counting this weekend, you have four weeks.
We've got 2 more weeks of football. We've got the break for the Pro Bowl, the Skills Challenge, and then the Super Bowl. So
4 weeks. I matched that correct.
3 weeks technically, because I'm not going to count the Pro Bowl. But
you should this year only because Eli and Peyton are coaching the team, so it's going to be worth the watch for just the commentary from them alone.
That should be fun. If they should have made it really fun and brought Prime in too. It's okay, Prime. You can come coach with us. Like, that'd been good. And Michael Irvin too. Get Michael in there. Now we have a good old time.
That would be something else. I think it'll be fun to watch. I think it'll be a lot more fun to watch than what the Pro Bowl was for the last 20 years.
True. I mean, there were a couple times it was at least enjoyable to watch. But the last couple, like, they really got together and was like, okay, guys, don't even tackle to the ground. Don't really do anything strenuous. And again,
they're like, don't touch anybody. Mac Jones ran for 65 yards and tried to gritty. That was bad. It was bad.
So hopefully things will get better with that. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't really like to count that. Well, we had a great weekend, which is I know what we're going to talk about. My weekend was football related, man. So I don't even have anything out of the ordinary to really talk about. Spent some time with some friends, watching football. Saturday night, just relaxed with the family and watched football. And then Sunday was all day football with Andy. And thankfully I had the day off. So then just kind of got stuff done around the house on Monday and then watched football Monday night. So
solid.
That was
I watched football. That was hung out with the little dude and the wife and watched some football and didn't do much.
That was
else. Yeah, it was good.
So, Super Wildcard Weekend. Where do you want to just start at game 1?
Yeah, may as well.
So, I appreciate the 49ers giving the Seahawks some hope for, I don't know. It was about a half, right?
A full half. It was 17-13 at half or something like that, 17-14.
I think it was 17-17. I think it was straight up tied at half.
No, Seahawks were winning. Yeah. They were winning at half. Because it's the first time San Francisco's trailed in the first half or going into halftime, and it was 10 games or 11 games or something crazy.
Come on.
And then they
Bleacher Report. I'm trying to prove him wrong. Bleacher Report, help me out. It was 17-16. It was close.
17-16, that's what it was. But yeah, and then they came out and outscored them 26-6 or something like that in the second half.
Just blew those doors open, baby.
Yeah, just smoked them.
Oh, the Jayhawks lost.
Yeah, they did. Off of a ridiculous alley-oop.
$42 down the drain. Oh, well. I'll get them next time. So, I tell you, man, Kyle Shanahan has got to be one of the best coaches out there. Because he literally just – if you watch Brock Purdy, I know everybody's all – we're all going to get into the hype. He's winning games. But everything he's doing is super – like, Shanahan's drawing plays where guys are just wide open. And all Purdy has to do is put the ball on them. They're wide open. And they're doing the rest. And that's
you can say what you want, my friend, but for whatever reason, Shanahan didn't trust Jimmy G to do this. Trey Lance probably wasn't going to be throwing it 30 times. People want to say, he's throwing to wide open guys and whatnot, but that's what a good quarterback is supposed to do. Is he's supposed to know the play well enough to know where the open man's going to be and get the ball to him. So he was Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah, he's not doing anything spectacular that jumps off the page athletically per se, but dude's putting up numbers and making sure the ball gets in the right dude's hands almost every play.
He's playing within the offense. I'm going to give him credit for that. I haven't seen him do anything spectacular that I'm like, oh, wow. But
no,
he's
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. But have you ever seen Tom Brady do anything spectacular where you're like, oh, wow? I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to compare him to Tom Brady, so nobody get crazy here. I'm just saying, Joe Burrow doesn't really do anything that makes you go, oh, wow. His receivers do, but Joe Burrow specifically doesn't necessarily make you do that. So, when you think about that, it's being smart enough to know where that ball needs to be when it needs to be there. And if you can do that and you make it look easy, people are going to play you down, but it's a rare gift to be able to do it.
Hey, let's be honest. You know my opinion on Brady, my man. He is definitely he started out at least he is a QB of a system. Like the system that he runs to perfection, and he doesn't have to do anything that's just wow per se, except for get the ball out on time quickly and let his, he throws it for 3 yards, the guy gets set 6. The next play he throws it for 7, the guy gets 12. So, but I do like the 49ers. I just like the way they play football. They fly around on defense.
It's hard not to like what they do.
They run the football. They block. Like I do like that the wide receivers are always blocking, and the wide receivers are some of the ones that actually create the biggest plays. Is their downfield blocking? I love that. So I'm excited for the 49ers.
I was watching, I don't know, NFL Rewind or something like that on ESPN today, and Orlovsky was breaking down what the 49ers were doing in their 21 personnel. So they're running the 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 2 receivers, and the different setups they had within just that 1 personnel group, because you can move why am I drawing a blank on the fullback's name? Juszczyk?
Kyle Juszczyk.
Juszczyk on the field. You have McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. Like the amount of things that you can do going through that, and who you can put in the backfield, who you can line up in the slot, who you can line up out wide.
I mean, they had a couple.
Changing just that is crazy.
They had a couple plays with Mitchell and McCaffrey on the field at the same time.
I mean, there's a lot of weapons, and Shanahan seems to be able to know how to use them, because there's been other teams in the past. There's some teams even this year that have a lot of weapons, and they just don't seem to be able to consistently perform. Whereas if you're on San Francisco's offense, you're eating. You don't know exactly which play you're eating, But by the end of the game, you're going to be full. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way it is.
They're just fun to watch. I'm so excited. It's going to be such a good time. This weekend's going to be amazing. There just wasn't a whole lot. Hats off to Gino, right? Gino made it look good for a half. And, they're behind. They don't have the talent that the 49ers have on the entire whole of the team. But for the first half, man, that 49ers defense didn't get really any pressure on Gino. Kenneth Walker was definitely running the football well. Like there's some good stuff coming out of there. So if they do well with the draft picks that they have this coming up this next year, they could get back into that, competing for the division because the Rams are down, the Cardinals are down. So they do have a shot at the 49ers.
They have the 5th overall pick thanks to Denver, correct?
They have the 5th, and they've got the 20th, I believe.
So do you take that 5th and trade back and acquire some extra picks? Because like you just said, 2 really good receivers. They've got 2 okay tight ends. They've got a good running back. Gino seems to be capable.
I think you take
you get some defensive and offensive help.
You take the top defensive player at 5. You can you're going to get a stud at 5 on the defensive line. Take a defensive stud, add them to that core that you got, and keep rolling. I mean, their corner picks, and again, this is so crazy. They literally drafted like dog shit for like 6 years straight, and then they finally hit like almost all their draft hit, like it hit in 2012.
Yeah,
and that's just it's mind-boggling that they went so long not being able to draft. And then all of a sudden, like every pick they had hit. So that's if they can do that again, man, they're set up and good on them, right? I mean, I'm not a Pete Carroll fan. I'm not a John Schneider fan, but they made the playoffs, and not often is that going to happen when you get rid of a quarterback that had taken you to the playoffs like 9 or 10 years. So. They made a good decision. So hats off to them.
Tough to watch as a Broncos fan, but yeah, I mean, well done. So yeah, they got steamrolled in the end by San Francisco, so they move on. They get another home game. You've got the second game of the day was the Giants and the Vikings.
No. It was Saturday. Only had 2. It had the.
Oh yeah, we're on Saturday still.
And then the Chargers and the Jaguars.
Jags. Epic comeback, 27-0.
I don't think I've ever been so happy at the outcome of a Chargers game, because I tried telling Chargers fans on Twitter all year. Yeah, if healthy, yeah, blah blah blah. I was like, but you know what? Chargers still gonna Charger.
They did. You were not wrong, my friend. Cheers to you for calling that before the season started.
Like, I had money on the Jags. I won money on the Jags. Like, it just and again at halftime I was just like, I guess I didn't know what I was talking about. I don't know what's going on here. Like,
that was wild.
The first interception that T-Law threw, it got tipped. I get it. Like, that happens. Yeah. The rest of them, though, it was like, bro, like, don't throw that ball. Like, you don't have to. It was just weird. And they didn't run the ball overly effective, which was crazy to me because, I mean, almost everybody runs on the Chargers.
I thought UTM was going to eat for sure. That didn't happen.
It did not. He had some here and there, but nothing to create.
He had that key 4th down run to the outside, which was impressive play call from Doug Peterson.
Oh, that was a really good play call.
Yeah,
really good play call.
The way the Jags came back is, I actually thought the Jags were going to win. I did. And then at halftime, I was like, "Boo, boy, that's you guys didn't even try to play today. And then the fact that they did win and the way they won and the epic collapse that the Chargers decided to showcase was, I mean, one for the ages. It's going in the record books, that's for sure.
And they're keeping their coach.
I don't hate that. I like Staley. I do like that he finally, whether it was an ultimatum or not, fired the OC and will bring somebody else in because that will be the top desired destination OC job in the NFL, I believe, this year, offseason, because it's Justin Herbert and what you can possibly do with that young man. So, and the fact that Staley's aggressive, like he'll allow his offense to be aggressive. So to me, that's going to be the top destination for any highly rated OC candidate.
They're gonna have to get a young guy. I don't know. They're either gonna get a retread or a young guy because anybody else who's already got a guy that's really good, they're not letting him go.
No, not necessarily if he's an OC. You don't make a lateral move, but it's going to be, a quarterback's coach or something along those lines from somebody who gets that bump up as an OC for their first time, or like you said, a retread. But I would not be surprised if it's a first time guy who gets a chance to do something special. How innovative and aggressive can you be as a play caller?
Do you know what I think ultimately cost the Chargers the game?
What?
So the first couple weeks of the season, Austin Eckler looked like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Or fantasy numbers looked like shit.
Yeah, however you want to say it. Yeah.
They didn't give him the ball.
I mean, yeah.
Here's a guy who's got 107 catches, and he catches one ball in this game.
It's weird. I mean, you've got Gerald Everett had some games where he just disappeared, but he's a solid weapon, especially when you had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams out for stretches of the season. The way play calls were done, and based on everything I've heard, I wouldn't necessarily be the guy to tell you exactly, but it sounds like Herbert wasn't given very many options for where the ball was actually going to go based on the play calls that were being given. Lombardi was kind of old school.
Getting the ball to Eckler has been a good idea all season, and you get good results. And that, to me, when I was watching the game, and I was just like, again, I put that Eckler would score, and he did, so that was good. But he scored twice. But in the second half, they didn't throw him the ball, and that's where he's a good running back, like running the football, but their O-line's not good enough to really run the ball. They're more for pass blocking. But you get the ball to him in space, and he's making things happen. And they just didn't do that. And that's what I feel like. I mean, they put the ball in Everett's hands. They got the ball to Keenan Allen. Mike Williams not playing, probably a big deal. But
it's a huge deal. They average 4 points less per game when he isn't on the field. That's huge.
It's just crazy to me that they charged that hard, and that guy and that Staley kept his job. I do like Staley, I do, but I was kind of shocked that he kept his job.
He'll probably be on a prove.
That tells me that the owner talked to Sean Payton, and Sean Payton told him how much money he wants, and the owner was like, "Yeah, I can't do that."
I think it was something along those lines. The fact that Sean Payton wants what he wants, and the fact that he'd have to pay a coach dead money. They're broke. Like the Spanos are broke, so it's not like they have very many options other than to just stick with what they got. And
I don't know what they're gonna. Well, I don't know what they're gonna do this offseason. They have to pay Herbert, and they're gonna have to put like $200 million in escrow to pay him.
Yeah, I don't tend to understand. I don't understand how you can be an NFL owner and be broke. first of all.
Well, there's a couple of them that have had the team from back in like the 80s and 90s.
I know, but the way they share money and the way you can market and revenue and like that just tells me you're bad business people. So you got lucky to even get here.
I don't think it's bad business people, but I don't think like they're like a lot of the value of the team is in the equity of the team itself. You know, they're making some money every year.
Renting space from somebody else in their stadium doesn't help the equity of your team.
Well, it doesn't because you don't have the stadium, you don't have, you're giving off a certain percentage of.
Yeah, imagine if they had just sucked it up and found a way to finance their own stadium themselves, paid for it, and then you just rent it out whenever your football team's not using it and generate millions of dollars that way, and all the other things you can do. Like,
I mean, I think it's only a decade before like you see a majority of these owners have to sell. It is getting to the point that when you have to put $200 million in escrow to pay a quarterback, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. And you have to literally write that check and put the money in there. Like when those guaranteed contracts, every guaranteed contract you write that has a guaranteed money, you have to put that money in escrow.
Oh, I get it. I mean, the NBA's been doing it for years, man. So that's part of the reason people think that Baltimore may not re-sign Lamar, because their owner just doesn't quite have what it takes to be able to pony up what he's going to need to throw down in escrow and feel good about it.
I wouldn't feel good about that investment myself, but let's pick up the pace a little bit, and then let's talk about the upcoming weekend. Then we can talk about Lamar and Brady, because there's some interesting things about that. So the hats off to the Jags. They're moving on to KC. That's going to be
fun. Let's discuss the Jags real quick, because Lawrence had an amazing second half. Etienne looked explosive when he got the ball. Ingram, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, all stepped up in the second half. Had big catches.
I think we can. I know we all agree when Evan Ingram is actually healthy and playing football, that dude is like one of the top 5 tight ends.
Probably talent wise, he's probably up there.
The problem is like this is like the only season he's been completely healthy.
Very true. And how many more of those does he have in him? You know what I mean?
I mean, he was completely healthy the whole year, no quads, no anything. Like it was. Hats off to him for staying healthy, but
that young defense played really well the second half. Holding the Chargers to what they were able to hold them to in the second half to give their offense even a remote chance was huge. And let's be honest, I think Trevor Lawrence kind of stepped forward and came out into the spotlight on Saturday.
I mean,
I think that second half was his finally like breathe, I can do this moment, and then he took off.
So I'm going to talk more about that as we get into the preview of the next week's game, but I love that they came back. I love that they won. I love that the Chargers chargered, obviously, and I really like the fact that he went to Waffle House to celebrate the win. That's a man of the people.
It is. Now, you want to know something else crazy? A stat that I saw that is just mind-blowing. Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday.
My wife told me that yesterday or today.
That's crazy.
That to me. And I was like,
crazy. High school, college pros never lost on a Saturday.
And I was like, wait, so Saturday? I was like, yeah, I mean, Clemson, I think he lost in bowl games. I don't think he actually lost during the season for the most part. And then the NFL, you don't play on Saturdays that often.
Nope.
He did lose to the Broncos this season, though, so there's that. In London. So
that was a Sunday.
It was a Sunday. It was a Sunday, early Sunday. Crazy thing, the Broncos beat both of these teams this season. Amazing.
You don't want to open that can of worms, my good man. Let's not do that.
I mean,
You told me to stay more positive. I'm trying here, and then you bring that kind of shit up. Expect me
I
not
just
to
like
say
the
anything.
poking the bear
Boy,
a
I'll
little
tell
bit.
you what.
All right, moving into
What's the next
Sunday.
game? What's the next game?
Sunday, we had Bills in Miami were the first
Correct.
game Sunday.
Correct. And let's be
And
honest, if Tua plays, the Bills lose, Miami's moving on. I fully believe that.
you know what's so I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. But I've watched a lot of Bills games this season. Obviously, I do like the Bills. I like Josh Allen. My man Von Miller's playing for the Bills. So
Was playing for the Bills.
I mean, he's still out there, but in spirit.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them. But when I've watched them this season, they play so careless. Like everything is going to work. When Josh Allen's throwing the ball, it's like it's not exactly like watching Brett Favre, but that's what I feel like I'm watching. Because I see it constantly.
I get what you're saying.
He's just like, we can do this. We're the best. He's got all the confidence in the world, and he just throws the ball into weird positions that I'm just like, what are you doing there? You've already got X, Y, and Z wide the hell open. Why are you trying to go 30 yards downfield when this guy's 10 yards in front of you wide open? Why? Because he can't.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from.
He's taking unnecessary risk.
I think some of it is Josh Allen, just his his innate quarterback ability that's just part of his game, is that propensity to possibly turn it over or give you a big play. I think some of it though is also the play calling this year. Dabble isn't there. He's not calling the plays. They've got a different guy there, former quarterback from college who won a lot. So, but it feels like some games they're clicking and they're on, and other games it feels like they're missing a link in the chain. So it's just like skipping, and it just kind of gives you that skip where it doesn't quite rotate properly and line up. And when it doesn't line up, they don't look good, and yet somehow they still manage to put up points. That's the crazy thing. Still managed to put up points, but part of that is because Miami's offense just couldn't really do anything, and allowed them to continuously have great field position, which is why I'm saying if Tua was playing, I don't think the Bills win that game Sunday.
I mean, we could always say that if Tua was playing, then Josh Allen maybe doesn't take all those chances and maybe is more methodical. And I mean, it could have changed the complexion of the game. I felt like they were taking big chances because they felt like, oh, that guy can't do anything. And
I mean, I can understand that too, and that could possibly be part of it as well, which is understandable. But when they're not clicking, man, and Tua would have had them down possibly 2 touchdowns, 10 points, a couple different times that would have forced Allen to still probably push the ball into undesirable locations. You know what I mean? So it just would have been a different game because Miami's offense would have been putting pressure on them rather than that not being the case at all.
Well, he definitely can't play like that this week. That's for sure. Hats off to Skylar Thompson. I mean, he didn't do anything, awesome. But I mean, he just kept moving the ball and he took advantage of the opportunities.
Dolphins receivers didn't do him any favors, and if they did that with Tua, then that would be an issue too.
Dude,
so
I heard Nate
Waddle and
Burleson
Hill both dropped some brutal balls.
Nate Burleson was trying to get them off the hook, like talking about because it's so cold in Buffalo, it's like catching bricks, and they're not used to that coming from Miami. And I was like, you know what? They warmed up before the game. They got out there and they caught passes and they caught balls. And I was like, they got used to it. Like I don't care. They dropped so many balls in this game.
It was bad.
Like if Miami, if their wide receivers had not dropped balls, they're running. They're not 17-0 down. they're like going head to toe, and they're probably whooping the shit out of the Bills if their wide receivers are not dropping every ball.
Yeah, it was kind of an ugly game, and then you look at the score and you're like, wait, how the heck did that happen? How did that many points get put on the board? Like that wasn't that I didn't watch that game. That's not the game I just watched. What's going on? So it was odd, but hey, hats off to Buffalo. They found a way to win and they advanced, and that's really all you care about. I mean, if the Broncos were in and they won 4-2, and it was 3 safeties that scored the whole game, and the Broncos just happened to get 2 of them, I'd be stoked, and I wouldn't care at all because they won and they're going to the next round. All you got to do is find a way to win the game, right? So hats off to Buffalo. Now we get our Buffalo Bengals matchup.
And in the playoffs, that's all that matters. You got to win the game. It doesn't have to be pretty.
Regular season, we can talk about that kind of nonsense, but once you get to the playoffs, it don't matter at all.
I did have some folks like talking down, like, "Oh, Buffalo should have blown." I was like, "Hold on now. I truly believe in a division game, anything can happen. In a division game, like you throw everything out the window.
That's proven true more often than not. Yeah, absolutely.
Weird shit happens in division games. So, I didn't take any stock in that. Would I have been like, would it have been crazy to see Skylar Thompson actually beat the Bills? I think yes, but would it have been like completely unheard of? No. So let's move on to the second game.
No, the second game, the one I was already, the Giants Vikings.
Giants and Vikings, and we both picked the Giants.
We did.
I believe we did both pick the Giants. We're both the ball fans, and
we are.
God, good Lord, did he have Daniel Jones dialed in, man? Like,
I told you that could be something to really watch, and he could be a Josh Allen Jr.
Well, what did they do in this game that the Vikings had no answer for?
I would say balls over the middle, really.
It wasn't quite that. They made Daniel Jones run the ball on multiple occasions.
Well, 70 yards.
There were quarterback-designed runs, and the Vikings had no answer for that.
No, but they called them smart. They were well-timed. Daniel Jones made the right call, whether to pull it and run or dump it off. It was just a really well-executed game plan by the Giants, and Daniel Jones played out of his mind.
We can be honest, the Vikings defense was not good most of the season anyways.
No, they weren't. That's why you have a negative point differential, and somehow you had the record that they had, so it's but again, they did what they were supposed to do, right? They scored and they kept scoring and they kept putting the Vikings on their heels, and Saquon had a really big game. Daniel Jones had a really great game. All those no-name receivers actually had a really great game. So,
oh man, Richie James and Isaiah Hodgins.
Yep.
Who's this guy? I would put money on Isaiah Hodgins scoring again this weekend. He's going to score again this weekend.
I think people are going to be surprised how close of a game this turns out to be.
I think it's I mean, we'll talk about predictions. Defense.
Giants are playing confident football right now. They are playing like a team that knows how to win.
It's so fun to watch. The Giants drafted Thibodeau, and when that dude is healthy and playing, it's a game wrecker, man.
Well, along with Leonard Williams in the middle, and
when you have Dexter Lawrence,
thank you,
in the middle,
those three. I mean, that's they do something right in the offseason. They can bring in some help for Daniel Jones on the offensive side of the ball for weapons, and then they draft a couple more well-rounded defensive holes that they need to fill. The Giants could actually be, dark horse Super Bowl contenders next year. if they can continue on this trajectory. You know what I mean? They could easily fall back down to earth next year and just be god awful for all we know. But if Daniel Jones and Dayball and the rest of the team can stay on this trajectory that they're showing, they could be good for a lot of years.
Well, why were they really good this season and possibly not as good in previous seasons? Besides their upgrade at coaching, they did get an upgraded coach. A specific person was healthy all season.
Saquon being healthy helps for sure. Saquon being healthy helps. There's no doubt about it. But let's be honest, getting rid of Judge and bringing in Dayball is and nobody's really said it, but it's close to the equivalent of getting rid of Urban Meyer and bringing in Doug Peterson. It is.
It's probably better than that, but
I mean, when you really think about it, and what Dayball is doing for that young quarterback, that young running back, just the way he uses them, keeps them out of trouble, allows them to grow and learn, and it's big time. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what the Giants do in the offseason, but they move on. They advance. And then the night game, Saturday night.
I'm drawing a blank now.
Oh, come on. Wasn't it another division rival?
Oh, yeah, sorry. It wasn't actually that entertaining, but Cincinnati and Baltimore.
I thought it was a really good game.
I mean, it's an NFC North game. It was a sock'em, lower scoring game.
If Lamar plays, do the Ravens walk out of their winners?
No.
You don't think so?
No, because he has no mobility on that knee right now.
No, I'm talking if he was healthy. I'm not talking about like him coming back the way he was. If Lamar was healthy in that game, like if he played because he was healthy, do they walk out of their winners?
I mean, they almost walked out winners anyways with Tyler Huntley. Can they win with Lamar? Sure. I don't know, man. I don't know. That game.
The reason I ask is because I know it's a division game. I know it's a rivalry. I know it was the second week in a row that they played each other. But there were some things I saw in that game that concerned me a little bit about the Bengals moving forward. And they can easily be rectified and cured, but there's just a good handful of little things that leave them vulnerable in bad spots. It's kind of like this is a terrible analogy, but it's kind of like the Death Star. Like it's got that one little vulnerability, but that one little vulnerability can end everything in an instant. And the Bengals have some of that in the way their defense plays and their secondary, especially being really weak right now. That O-line is patchwork at this point because of injury. And while they've been able to manage both of those things and kind of get through them, there's been some times that, especially last couple of weeks, if there was a quarterback that was a little bit more explosive or just had a little bit better vision for the field, they could have been taken advantage of, and it could have gone very bad. And now they're going against the Bengals that have those weapons and the quarterback that can easily do that. And it's going to be interesting to see how that matchup works given what the Bengals have shown.
I mean, at least with that game, again, division rivals, they kept it close. The Baltimore defense, since they got Roquan Smith, has been pretty damn good.
Yeah, it has.
So,
it has.
I just, it just came down to being a division game. I think that's why it was so close. Most of those Ravens, Bengals, Steelers games are not like blowouts. Like you don't usually get.
It's rare that there's a blowout. It's rare, but if a team like the Ravens is able to take advantage of those situations enough to stay in the game, a team like the Bills could easily take advantage of those situations and put you in a hole real quick.
And again, I think John Harbaugh is a great coach. So like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As well.
He's top 5 in the NFL year in and year out, no doubt.
He had them ready to play. They played as well as they could. They almost pulled it out.
And let's be honest, I don't think Huntley's shoulder was healthy. Even though he played, I don't think it was fully healthy because some of those throws just didn't look like they had the zip on them that they needed to go where he was hoping to.
I mean, let's be honest. Like Demarcus Robinson's their best wide receiver right now. I mean, they're weapons.
No, they got Sammy back. They got Sammy's back, baby. They're fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't think Sammy caught a ball, bro.
No. You know what's really wild is you have Likely and Andrews, and you're not running both of them slot outside, same side of the field, drawing coverage, doing something, because you have two really good weapons to throw the ball to that you don't seem to game plan to get the ball to.
Makes no sense. No sense.
Especially when you don't really have any wide receivers, like you just said. So, again, that goes back to me saying I think the issue is more the offensive coordinator and the play calling than it is the quarterback. Because when you see stuff like that happen and the quarterback's not playing, it's a little more glaring.
Well, we'll touch on this in a moment. So Bengals moved on. I like Joey B. I think I'm I'm getting a jersey order together. I think I'm gonna get a Joey B jersey. I'm gonna get the black and orange.
Okay. Yeah.
He's just so fun to watch. Now again, he's got really good players around him, so that makes it fun to watch.
Yeah, well, but when you have and I don't think it's cocky at all, when you just have the confidence in your game and you've proven it over and over again to where somebody asks you, what do you think the window is for you guys right now to win a championship? And his response is, my whole career. Like, dude, those kind of quotes get me to be a fan instantaneously if I wasn't already. But he's right. You know what I mean? Like, he's not trying to be arrogant or cocky. He just has that much confidence in his game, and that as long as he's the quarterback, they're going to find a way to stay competitive and in it. So, yeah, I'm not trying to count them out next week, but when I say that they've got some holes, but just saying those holes can be exploited possibly to cause them some issues. But when you got Joey B, you got those weapons around him that they have, you're always going to be in it.
So, yeah, sometimes it doesn't matter. Then we had last night's
Sunday's games. You're just going to skip over all of those?
We just covered it. Bengals and Ravens was the last game of the night. Buffalo, Dolphins, Giants, Vikings, Cincinnati.
Monday night game. This was exactly what we thought it would be, to be honest with you, or what I thought it would be. I didn't have any faith in the Bucs. The Cowboys should have come out and smoked them the way they did. They're lucky they came out and played the way they should have, because Brett Maher is looking for a pink slip for some reason. Like, dude was not happy with his team.
There's a big difference from this season from last season, and I think this was the key of the game. The Bucs, they did not re-sign JPP. That was a mistake.
Sue
and Shaq Barrett got hurt. So they had absolutely zero pass rush in this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could see Vita Vea pushing the pocket, but if Dak moved to the left or to the right, he still had 5 seconds to throw the football.
Yeah.
And shockingly enough, when he had 5 or 6 seconds to throw the football, what happened? He had his best game of his career, right? Because he's literally just sitting back there and able to throw to a wide open guy, which he did, which was awesome. Like, he didn't make mistakes. He didn't make any bad throws. Like this was a really efficient, really good game from him. What I saw was just the fact that he had so much time to throw the football. He wasn't forced into any quick throws at all. And so that might change the way I view the Cowboys for next week. But it was awesome to see them play at that level, because I love seeing Dak when he can play at that level. It's just I just somehow I can't understand how we can see Dak look like this and then last week look as bad as he did last week. Like those things,
it's kind of been his issue ever since he got injured. Ever since that really bad ankle injury, this has kind of been his MO. Like, he just can't knock all the rust off, or all the rust is never going to get completely knocked off, and this just kind of is the new Dak, and he's got to kind of find a way to manage the games a little better going forward. It's hard to say. But, honestly, yeah, Dak had a lot of time to throw the ball. Yeah, the offense looked good. But when you really look at it, that defense made the Bucs look exactly like I thought they would look more often this whole season, which is just old. That Cowboys defense came after him hard and consistent, and it was bad.
And I don't know if Brian Leftwich didn't, like, all season from the Bucs games I watched, I don't know if Mike Evans, like, talked shit. Maybe he took Giselle out on a date. Like, I don't know what he did, but, like, him and Tom Brady, like when you looked on the field, they hate each other.
Yeah, they don't look good. That offensive line, obviously, with all the injuries, hasn't looked good. Chris Godwin's been hit or miss. It's just playoff Lenny doesn't exist any longer.
I don't know if many people could run behind that old line, though. Like, there's no space.
I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. Like, he's non-existent, and it's not going to change anything going forward. So, going to be very interesting to see what that team looks like next year. I don't see Brady being back. So he, I think, finds a new destination. Godwin's signed. Mike Evans is signed. The offensive line should come back a little healthier. Who they bring in at quarterback, I don't know.
Their core guys are there. I just don't know who they're going to bring in at quarterback.
So that's going to be interesting. But Cowboys advance, and they got a tough matchup next week, boy. I'll tell you what, it's a repeat of last year coming. I see scenarios where the Cowboys win next week. But it's going to be.
We'll talk this game first, since we'll just kind of lead into it.
Yeah,
49ers, Cowboys, like, I just think the 49ers are going to roll pretty much like they did last year. And the one thing that'll be different, I don't think Dak's not going to have that time to throw the football.
No.
Between Bosa, Armstead, Kinlaw on the inside, and they usually bring one of their linebackers as well on the rush. Like, good luck, man. And you're not going to run the football.
You got Ward on the outside.
You're not going to run the football.
Yeah, no.
If you're going to keep putting Zeke Elliott out there, you're not going to run the football well against the 49ers. So
Probably not.
I don't see this being as clean. I will say, go ahead and throw a bet on Dalton Schultz to score a touchdown. Probably pretty good that he's going to score.
Possibly,
he's been one of his favorite topics.
I could see that. Like I said, I see scenarios where the Cowboys could win. I do. They have a lot of talent, and if that talent's all clicking, they could win.
I won't be shocked.
I don't think they're going to.
It's not a situation like, could they win? Sure. I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys win, but I don't see a scenario the way these two teams are built and the way they're coached to where I see the 49ers running the football on the Cowboys, because you can run the football on the Cowboys.
It's not just that. They can throw the football on the Cowboys, too, because they're one of the few teams in the NFL that has the weapons to match up and excel.
Well, it doesn't matter if Trayvon Diggs is on the guy he's covering. There's a guy running wide open.
Put him on IU. Okay, Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey are all open. Put him on one of the other ones, and the other three are open. It's not good.
It doesn't matter when you have a shutdown corner. I mean, your corners can play a fantastic football game against the 49ers, but they run a play. You watch the 49ers, the way that they call plays, and this is the Shanahan offense, and we watched it a lot when Mike Shanahan was here. It didn't matter if your defense covered guys. There was still a guy running wide open because of, like, your linebacker thought it was a run, and the tight end came in right behind him because he went forward for half a second before he went backwards. Like, they draw up plays to get guys wide open, and Shanahan's a master at that. And
yeah, the 49ers have too many weapons for him to work with on that chessboard right now, and that quarterback knows exactly what he's capable of. and what he needs to do, which is I don't have to do a lot. I just have to get the ball in all these playmakers' hands, and they make me look good. And he's been doing
Now,
it consistently.
I'll make the prediction that it's a 50-50 crowd this weekend because Cowboys fans travel and they will be there.
No, not 50-50. Not in San Francisco. No way. There'll be some Cowboys fans, but not in San Francisco. Those fans like their team, man. They're an old school, hardcore NFL team when it comes to their fans, and they're not going to let the Cowboys have that many tickets.
50-50 may have been shooting a little high, but
I was a little strong. Came in a little hot on that one.
I think I was thinking like the LA like Chargers Rams Stadium. Like
yeah, then it easily would have been. It probably would have been 60-40 in Dallas's favor. Yeah,
that's
sure.
what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
This is no Cal, not SoCal, so a little different.
Oh,
the other NFC game is a division game, which
Giants.
is crazy. We've had that many in these playoffs already, but Giants Eagles.
I see a way that the Giants can win. In this game, I'm a little bit closer in this game. I do think I think the Giants could win this game. The Eagles should win this game with the week off.
You think the Giants have a better chance to beat the Eagles than the Cowboys do the Niners? Wow. Okay.
And again, just like what I've watched from when the 49ers play the Green Bay Packers, that is a horrible matchup for the Packers. It always has been. When the Cowboys play the 49ers, it's a bad matchup for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are not the bully that the 49ers are.
Sure.
The 49ers bully you. And I think that's when the Cowboys usually fade, is when they're fighting a bully. That's what I see happening. That's why I say, so even in this game, I see this being closer just because, again, I think the Giants play the Eagles fairly well. I think they did at least one of the two games they played. They did play them fairly well. So that's where I can see this still coming out in Giants' favor. Because, again, I mean, they do have lack of playmakers everywhere, but they have Saquon Barkley, who is maybe in the top 3 running backs right now. He might be number 1.
Yeah.
If completely healthy.
But you're going from playing like the 31st defense to the first or like top 3.
They're not playing the 49ers, bro. Eagles defense is not that high. They're in the top 10 at least, yes, but you can.
I think they're top 5 easy.
I don't know about that.
And with Sue, well, you got to remember they had who was the rookie they drafted out of Georgia, the DT?
Jordan Davis.
Yes, Jordan Davis was out part of the year, and they didn't have Sue full go. Now Sue's full go, and Jordan Davis is back, right? Am I correct with that?
I'm not exactly sure.
I believe. So, they're getting healthy. They finally got their pieces back. This is a top 5 defense.
According to a website, the Eagles are ranked like 8th.
Okay.
Again, I think the Eagles are a top 10 defense every week. But I've seen them give up. They've given up some scores. They're not dominant.
Well, I mean, San Francisco's defense lost to the Broncos. So let's not, go down the road of possibilities of giving up.
It was 11-10. I mean, they only gave up 11 points.
It should have been -7 at a minimum.
Technically, their defense only gave up 9 because their offense gave up 2 points because of a safety.
Dude, that defense should have the Broncos should have been giving points back, going in debt of points because the defense was just making them look so terrible. So, they've each had their not great moments, but 2 dominant defenses. We'll say that. You're going from league's worst to top of the league now when you're the Giants as far as that offense goes.
They're going to have to grind it a little bit more.
And that defense of the Giants is going up against arguably, I think we could agree on this, the best offensive line in football if it's all healthy. But I heard Lane Johnson may not be playing, so that could be a bit of an issue.
When healthy, they are. When healthy, I think they are probably the best O-line in football.
So, and they've got playmakers left and right with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Goddard and Miles Sanders and Gainwell. And, Hurts can get out there and run the ball. Unlike Kirk Cousins, can't move, just pocket presence. So
I got to bring this up real quick. This is so lopsided. It's crazy. Nuggets are playing the Trailblazers.
Okay.
Obviously, I bet on the game, so I'm paying attention.
Okay. Yep.
The Trailblazers have 80 points. Lillard has 34. The next highest guy has 14.
Yeah.
I'm just like, can you just throw somebody in front of Lillard to not let him score? Nobody else on their team can score. But
when Lillard can pull up and shoot from literally anywhere, it's hard to guard him. But the Nuggets are still winning, so it's not that terrible.
But he's got 36 now. He just keeps scoring.
Yeah, he'll do that. That's fine. He might have 50 by the time it's all said and done, and the Nuggets can still win without it even being close.
All right, back to football.
Eagles win.
Eagles should win this game.
The season comes to an end, but they've got something to build on going forward next year.
Giants got rid of the frauds that are the Minnesota Vikings. And then I think they'll play. I think this might be kind of like a 49ers Seahawks. They'll keep it close for the first half, and then things will just kind of get away from them.
I can see that. Now, over on the AFC side, you've got the Jags and Chiefs, which honestly, I think this is almost a coin flip.
Man.
I do, and this is why. Okay. I think the Jags play really well. I think they've got confidence now. I think Trevor Lawrence knows he belongs. I don't think he makes those mistakes and they get down. I think they go blow for blow with the Chiefs, and we see a really fun game of two great young quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is now the old head in the room when it comes to great young quarterbacks, which is crazy. But I think we see something really fun. I do. And now I'm not saying the Jags are going to win, but I think it's closer to 50-50 than people think it might be.
I hope you're right, because I do want to watch a good game. But the two things I think is going to make this game probably a blowout for the Chiefs is A, Jaguars spent so much of that emotional energy, and that does play a factor. We've seen it happen where they blow all that emotional energy, and then the next week they just come out flat. And you can't come out flat against the Chiefs. You just can't.
Well, you're right. It goes one of two ways. You either come out like a beast and you go gangbusters on people, or you come out flat and you never recover. So you're right. That could be the other outcome.
And the other thing that I see, and this is just my faith in Andy Reid from what I've seen, you give Andy Reid a week off to prepare for someone, he's really good. He dials up the right mismatches. He dials up the right plays in the red zone. And that's where I just feel like this is one where Kansas City's going to get up 21-0, and just it's going to create that snowball effect of bad things happening for the Jags. That's what I feel is going to happen. I hope the Jags play tough, like you said, and I hope the Jags come out and win. Lord knows, I want nothing less than to see a Chiefs Super Bowl again. Because then we all have to talk about Patrick Mahomes and how awesome he is, and he's really fun to watch. But he's the face of the NFL. So
him and the Niners would be a fun rematch.
The face of the NFL.
Just thinking a little bit long term, that would be a fun rematch to see.
As a football fan, you can only shove Patrick Mahomes down my throat so many times before I'm just tired of it. Give me somebody else.
I disagree with that. I am all about appreciating the greatness while it's here, because I think too many people are forgetting how amazing Jordan was. while I may not talk highly of LeBron, that's only when it comes to the GOAT conversation. Outside of that, I think people may be blinking and missing one of the, if not the greatest career any NBA player's ever had. Just what he's going to go down and accomplish. Patrick Mahomes is something like that. What he's accomplishing at a very young age, like, don't take the greatness for granted. Like, because we could go through, like, look, some of you younger people may not understand, but we're in a golden age of quarterback right now. A golden age of quarterback. There was a time not too long ago when quarterback play across the NFL was not great. Not great at all. And if you played fantasy back then, you were scrounging week to week. You were playing quarterback position like people do kickers and defenses now. And you were just waiver wiring whoever was there that week because there was only a handful of guys really worth owning. So this is not normal. And when you get the opportunity to watch it and see it, cherish it because what Patrick Mahomes does is just incredible. And I'm a Broncos fan. Like, that's a huge rival, but I'm not going to sit here and deny like watching him isn't just incredible.
So again, I do like watching him. I just hope they lose.
Sure, I get that. Yeah, I get that. But I'd like to see it be a shootout, great game played by both people, him and Lawrence, and then he loses. You know what I mean?
So, KC's going to win. It's in KC. They're going to win. I
think they move on too. I think they move on too. I think we're talking like Jags have a chance at the end of the game to possibly make it a game, and they might. That's when they might turn the ball over, or they don't get it on fourth down or something, and then KC goes and scores and opens the game up. You know what I mean? So it's like close until like 6 minutes left in the game, and then all of a sudden there's that mistake finally happens for the Jags, and then KC opens it up, and all of a sudden like the final score isn't going to look as close as the game actually was. That's the kind of thing I think we're going to see.
Yeah, I just think I think we're going to see the KC snowball. I just think they're going to come out and throw shit at that defense that defense hasn't played. I think that's what they did in the game they played this season. I think the KC offense came out and just scored like 20 straight points before the Jags knew what hit them, and then it was over. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. But I hope I'm wrong. Again.
I mean,
I'd love the Jags to win. Jags going and
so that game that you're talking about in particular, Jags lost 27-17, so they lost by 10. Quarter by quarter, it was 7-0 Chiefs, 13-7 Chiefs. I'm sorry, no. The Chiefs went 7-0, 20-7 at halftime, 27-10 at the end of the third quarter, and then 27-17 at the end of the game. So the Jags kind of hung there, and that was earlier in the season when the Jags were still trying to figure out, how to play football. So I think they've got some confidence right now that this is going to be closer than people think. I just do. I think it's going to be a really fun game.
Well,
now, the other game,
right?
Me too. The other game is a match that we were really hoping to see earlier in the season, and some tragedy struck. Luckily, it turned out well for Damar Hamlin. By all accounts, he's doing really well. Will make a full recovery, it sounds like, at this point. Whether he plays football again or not, we don't know. But we get to see Bills-Bengals in Buffalo, and it's going to be it's going to be – I think that game is going to be really fun too. I think it's going to be like a 30-27, 35-31 type game.
Let's be honest. This is the game of the weekend, and this is the game of who has the ball last will probably win.
Kind of feels that way. It sure does.
And Allen has to play a cleaner game. He can't play the way he did against Miami. And
Burrow's been known to kind of do similar things from time to time. So you could see it go back and forth that way too. Like I just think it's going to be close.
That Tre'Davious White is not quite. He's playing, but he's not quite the same player from the ACL yet.
And they're missing Vaughn. They're missing that pass rush. Something awful.
They miss Vaughn awful, and they miss Micah Hyde as well.
Yes.
On the back end. So that secondary is not great. Like I said, if Miami doesn't drop so many footballs, Miami might have won that game, man.
Yep.
They dropped so many footballs. If the Bengals catch those footballs with Higgins, Boyd, Chase, and then even the tight ends, and
Aiden Hurd, Joe Mixon, P. Ryan. They got a lot of weapons.
Like this is a back and forth game, and I'm so excited. This is the very first game of the weekend. First game Sunday. So we get to kind of wake up and get started with that game on Sunday. So
yeah, going to be a lot of fun. Out of everything, I think you got the Niners and the Eagles move on, and I think you get the NFC Championship game that everybody really wants. And I think you're going to get the Bills and the Chiefs. But I'm not gonna lie. I could just as easily seen it be Bengals and Jags. Honestly,
I am picking the Bengals in this game.
Ooh, okay. So we're differing there. We're differing there a little bit.
And
my deciding factor is it's in Buffalo. That's what it came down to for me.
And I have a man crush on Josh Allen too. But
you do. If this was in Cincinnati, I'd probably pick Cincinnati, but it's in Buffalo, so I'm giving
the way that defense has played this year. After Vaughn went down, and it just when Skylar Thompson looks good against you, like what's Joey B going to look like?
It's not good.
So,
but let's be honest, Tyler Huntley hasn't looked good all season, and the Bengals made him look competent again. So that's what I'm saying. True. It's kind of one and the same here. We got two offenses that could go out and just smoke them.
I mean, this is literally you've got three top teams in the AFC: Chiefs, Bengals, Bills. It's for me, if any of those three teams get together, it's a coin flip. Like who gets the ball last game?
Sure.
So, you don't even. I don't even think you have to get into deep analysis on the Bills and Bengals. You just, what does your heart tell you to do? You go with that, and
that's probably the smartest way to decide that game for sure. That's probably the smartest way to decide it. Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I think we're in for 4 really good games this weekend. 4 really good games going into the divisional championship game. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, buddy. I was going to say the only two things that probably need to be discussed now that we've got the preview of Divisional Round out of the way is the Tom Brady situation. Obviously, actually, there's three quarterbacks that have some interesting situations going on right now.
Okay. Brady first.
You got Brady first. I'm inclined to think for myself that Brady retires.
No, if he doesn't want to be in Tampa for whatever reason, he's going to end up with the Raiders.
Well, so there's 3 teams that I can see him go play for, and that's Miami, because he wouldn't have to go very far, and he's already he'll make good money there. Tua is hurt, and they could say we're letting him recover. He's still on a rookie deal, so you're not like if you give up a year of his rookie deal, no big deal. Although Tua, when healthy, fantastic, great, was way better than I thought. I was wrong. He proved me wrong. But now can you trust him to stay healthy? I don't know if you can. So
concussions are a different beast. So that's a whole other animal we don't know
once
about.
You get one, and then you get 2, and then it just becomes easier for them to happen. It's the same thing that happened to Steve Young. It's the same thing that happened to Troy.
A lot of guys. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to him. So you think he retires? I think he ends up with the Raiders.
Well, I think he should retire because I don't know if any of the teams are Brady away from contending. Maybe the Dolphins.
None of them are. None of them that there's no team that needs a quarterback that would want Brady that's contending next year, in my opinion.
Because I don't think the Raiders, roster as a whole, especially on defense, can contend even if it has Brady.
No, and I've heard talks that he'll go home and go back to the Patriots while they try to figure out their quarterback situation for the next year or two, and I don't see any way in hell that happens. Although he'd be treated like a king, you know what I mean? Like, there's that.
They have nothing there. They have no weapons.
Nothing at all. So we'll see what happens with Brady. I think it's going to be a saga. I don't think it's going to be a quick decision. I think I would not be surprised, to be perfectly honest with you, if he waits until after the draft this year. So I don't think we're going to figure it out very quickly.
I mean, the Raiders make sense. Josh McDaniels. The Raiders need a quarterback. So that makes sense.
Now, I've heard Jimmy G ends up there, which is another Patriot fill-in Josh McDaniels gets to work with. But, either way, you're running the same dude out there personally, I think, at this point in their careers. Who's the next quarterback?
A quick one. Aaron Rodgers. He was on the Pat McAfee show. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he literally made the comment, I need some time. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I still think I can win an MVP, whether that's for the Packers or somebody else. So it's in his mind that he could go somewhere else.
I think he missed his window to go somewhere else last year with the Broncos. To be perfectly honest with you, at this point in time, that was his window last year to go with the Broncos and try to do it somewhere else. I think he ends back in Green Bay. I think those young receivers actually get some work with him in the offseason, and I think they are dangerous next year with those running backs.
They need to add one. They need to add a veteran wide receiver.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will next year. I don't think they'll need to because in offseason, in a full season with Rodgers now, if they're healthy, Dobbs and Watson, Samori Toure didn't see as many opportunities as I thought he might with some of those injuries, but given the opportunity, he played well. So he could always come in and fill up a little bit more. I don't think they need a stud kind of dude like D-Hop. I could see them bringing in somebody, but I think it'd be more like a Randall Cobb type role if they did. But I think he's back in Green Bay, and I think they could be really dangerous next year offensively.
But obviously, he's starting that whole drama again. Does he come back and play? Does he not? I did see something. It might have been a fake tweet or something, but I did see something about Jordan Love saying he wants to be traded or he wants to play.
That doesn't surprise me. Now. 3 years. Right? It's been 3 years. 2.
Yeah, 3.
No, this was the 3rd year. So, he actually didn't look bad in some of the time he got. It would be interesting to see what happened if he got a full season under his belt. If they really have something there or not that they could build on is hard to say right now. Damn near impossible, actually. But I think Rodgers comes back for at least one more year.
And then we've got the Lamar Jackson saga.
I'm not going to lie. 2 firsts from the Jets just seems like a really smart deal for both teams at this point. Like, I just feel like the Jets give 2 firsts. They sign Lamar to a deal. Baltimore gets those 2 firsts, and they just move on clean. They roll with Tyler Huntley, and they try to build that team a little bit more.
You think they would want to trade for Lamar and pay all that money more than just going and getting Jimmy G?
Yeah. Yeah, because unlike you, I think Lamar is a dude. I think he's a stud. I think he will continue to improve his game as his career goes on, like we saw with the Michael Vick, like we saw with the Steve Young. I think he does the same thing as his career goes on, and I think with weapons around him, which the Jets have, I think he would be just phenomenal. I really do.
I mean, that's a lot, though, man. You're talking 2 firsts, and that boy wants over 250, and he wants most of it guaranteed.
Hey
That's a
man,
lot, man.
do you want to win? Do you want to win? Go get that dude because you've pretty much taken care of all the other positions you needed to.
Yeah, I can't see it, man. I don't think he's worth that myself. I don't.
Here's how crazy the Jets situation is right now. I think if they had Sam Darnold still with this team that they had this year, I think they make the playoffs. That's how bad the quarterback play they got in total was this year. I think if they had kept Sam Darnold, they'd have a little bit more talent, and they would have made the playoffs. You put Lamar Jackson on that team that they have right now, they're looking at AFC Championship fighting for a Super Bowl. I truly believe that.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know. Lamar's fun to watch, but when I watch him, when you force Lamar to have to throw, and again, I agree. Greg Roman and the lack of receiving weapons there makes it hard to really evaluate him because there's not really anybody getting open anyway. So you don't know how good a passer Lamar could be because they didn't really have it, but we haven't seen it either. That's a hard check for me to write for something I haven't seen before.
So what would you do if you're the Baltimore Ravens?
I wouldn't pay Lamar.
So you trade him? You can't let him walk for nothing. And if you're not going to sign him to a big deal, then you don't want to franchise tag him because that's a waste of money.
And I mean, I'd rather franchise tag him for 40 than pay him 250 guaranteed. You get one more season out of him. But you also get something like this. If he gets nicked up, he technically probably could have played, but with no contract, there's no reason for him to play.
I don't know. Based on what I'm hearing right now, him playing would have been like RG3 going out there and playing, which is, as we all know, a terrible idea, and he didn't look good.
According to the doctor information I saw, he could not have hurt his MCL more by playing, but he wouldn't have the same movement on that MCL as he had. So
yeah, you know what's funny is people say that, and some doctor came up and said something stupid like that, when really it's weakened, so you could hurt it more and you could tear it, because you know how I know these things? It happens all the time. All the time you hear stuff like that, and then the dude goes down. One of the most famous examples is Kevin Durant. Came back in the finals, calf strain, said, you know, it is what it is. It's not going to get any worse at this point. Ends up tearing his Achilles. Like, you know what? I don't want to hear that nonsense when doctors say it can't get any worse at this point. Like, you know what can't get any worse? If the bone's completely shattered. At that point, it can't get any worse. If the ligament is already torn in pieces, it can't get any worse. Look, but if it's not there yet and it's not the worst, then don't say it can't get any worse.
If the Ravens wanted him to play, they would have had him signed to a long-term deal before the season.
So neither one of us thinks he'll be on the Ravens, just for kind of two different reasons.
So yeah, I think that's that situation's done. I just don't know if I want to give up 2 first-round picks and pay a dude $250 guaranteed. Like, I just don't think I want to do that.
It's just a difference in, I think he's a dude and you don't. I think that's the difference there.
Well, I think he's a dude.
Would you do it if it was Joe Burrow? Would you do it if it was Joe Burrow?
Oh, dude, I'd give you 4 picks for Joe Burrow.
Would you do it if it was Justin Herbert? Oh, really? You're balking on that? Shit.
I see Herbert to me as another gunslinger, bro. Like, I think the Chargers Charger for a reason. Like,
that offense was old school 90s, dude. Like, it was terrible play calling. Would you do it for Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Okay. Just kind of in the, going around the league a little bit and just kind of.
Trevor Lawrence has come on, but I still haven't seen like,
enough that he's a dude.
I don't see that like elite level from him at the moment. Okay. But I'm just like, yeah, I would give, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm giving up 2 first-round picks and I'm giving a guy $250 guaranteed,
You do
I
it
need
for
a guy.
Josh Allen. You do it for Patrick Mahomes. Those are obvious ones.
I need a guy who makes the rest of the team around him better and can literally will the team to win. And
isn't that exactly the definition of what Lamar Jackson is doing in Baltimore? I mean, he makes the guys around him better because everything is better when he's playing.
Look, literally, Lamar's the fastest dude on the field when he's healthy. And
I
when
don't
he
care,
runs the
man.
football,
I don't care. Winners win. Winners win. That's what they do.
It's true. Winners win. But when he can't run the football, he doesn't normally win. That's a fact.
All right, final thoughts. We're going to beat dead horses here.
I got a hard time paying a guy that only wins when he can run as he gets older. I just don't want to pay on for that.
You don't think he'll develop? You don't think he'll develop? I do. Like that's
He's already 5.
What it is.
He's already 5 years in, man. You don't develop into a pocket passer like after 5 seasons. Like it doesn't happen.
I mean, Vic learned how to become a pretty great thrower of the football from the pocket after he got out of prison.
He was good, but he still ran a lot that season. Even that.
Yeah, but I mean, if Lamar Jackson can become that with a different offensive coordinator, what would you say then? Now you guaranteeing him that money? Because I sure as hell would.
I'm not. He's a smaller guy. I don't see that. I just don't see a guy that's going to stay completely healthy. That I'm gonna risk that money. Again, I'm risk averse. I am, and I just don't see it from Lamar.
Final thoughts.
Man, we got a good weekend coming up. We got a lot of football. Got some UFC fights coming up this weekend that should be fun to watch on Saturday night. Heck, next weekend we have WWE Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Let's get ready for that, right?
Nice.
You know how we do.
Shout out. Love it.
Yeah.
For those that aren't familiar with us, that's the nonsense part of the show, and it's very prevalent if you pay attention. I love it. I've said it before. I think we're going to have 4 really great games this weekend. There's plenty of other sports going on too that we didn't even mention on today's show. Basketball is heating up.
Avalanche won back-to-back games.
Hockey is in full swing. We're about to get to the halfway point of both of those seasons. There's a lot going on. Baseball is going to be reporting here in about a month. So there's a lot going on in the world of sports other than just what we talked about for the football. But 4 great games coming up this weekend. Pay attention. On that note, spend that time with the loved ones, family, friends. Cherish them and those moments that you have. We love all of you. We're out. Peace.